Good evening. Thank you for joining us. We are the boys from the Baltic Star, or technically we are 66.66 recurring percent of the boys from the Baltic Star. In bottom right hand corner, I'm Ben, and in the top right hand corner is Ewan. Good evening, Ewan. How are you?
Hello, Ben. I'm very good, thanks. I'm looking forward to tonight. I like nights like tonight. Obviously I'm without my emotional support, Luke, but I do. I I almost get like you reading a bedtime story to me, which is lovely.
It
So
is that kind of
all is
feel,
well.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they are quite fun. I mean, obviously we'd rather have a Luke, but if we can't have a Luke, it turns out we have an appointment with Fear because that's what we're playing tonight. We play narrative games of all kinds, and at the weekends, Friday and Saturday nights, we play RPGs. But when it's just you and I, we quite often play one of these. This is a classic fighting fantasy game book. This one was published in 1985 and is allegedly written by Steve Jackson himself, though it isn't clear entirely to me which Steve Jackson, because there are, it turns out, two, both of whom wrote fighting fantasy game books. And the fact that it says Steve Jackson's appointment with Fear, which might imply that it's the one who started the books with Ian Livingstone. We have in the past had Scorpion Swamp, which was Steve Jackson and Ian Livingstone's Scorpion Swamp, written by Steve Jackson, and the two Steve Jacksons were very different, very different Steve Jacksons. One of them was American.
Yes.
So,
Very different books as well, from what I remember, because we have done at least one of each, haven't we?
oh yes, yes,
More so of the OG Steve Jackson, as far as the books are concerned.
yes, indeed. So, for those who haven't seen one of these before, we don't do well at them. We haven't played every single one in the series by any means, but this is book number 17, and I think we're up to like 12 or 13 we've actually played.
Yeah.
And we haven't succeeded in any of them yet. In many of them, we die horribly or fail really early, and in others, we stumble onto the end and then fail.
Yes. You missed out the most important one though, and arguably the most soul wrenching was the one that we died very early on, like the third room or something, and then gave ourselves a do-over and went on to complete it and win.
Yes.
But
Yeah, thus
it
proving
doesn't.
that if we'd just done one thing differently,
Yeah.
which is
Indeed.
horrific when that happens. Yeah.
And
Oh
as
well.
Sock says, the last one, apparently we were alive for 31 minutes.
I don't know if that included character gen though, did it, Socks?
Oh, maybe, yeah, maybe. Intro, character gen.
Because if so, I feel very strongly that in this book we may have to spend about 32 minutes doing character gen. Oh, from the moment the first die was rolled. Okay, so character gen, yeah. So get ready for half an hour of exciting character gen while we put in the bank the option to keep things going.
It's also a really simple character generation method, and should really take 5 minutes, I think, if you're doing it properly and you're not trying to just stay alive for as long as possible.
Yes, yes,
But
indeed.
here we are.
Okay, so skill, stamina, and luck. This is how we have to begin. We use d6s for this game. Um, other, other dice are available. Um, People play with d4s, d8s, d12s, and d20s as well. But this game only uses d6s. So for skill, stamina, and luck, to roll our skill score, we need 1d6 plus 6, please.
Wonderful.
And that's a good start for me. That's a 6.
I got a run of the mill 3. That's
Okay.
9 total.
Um, Stamina is 2d6 plus 12. Thank you, Socks.
Thank you very
This
much.
is
Oh
this
dear.
this is bound to end brilliantly.
There's a 6 on mine.
7 for me. 3 and a 4.
Plus the 12,
So
which is
plus the
always
12 is 19. That's not awful. And luck, 1d6 plus 6.
there's a 4.
Okay, 3 for me. So not awful, but not brilliant. Okay. Now we do, as our characters, start with 0 hero points, which apparently we accumulate through the story, and apparently are completely meaningless in terms of winning it. They're supposed to be used so that if you replay differently another time, you can track whether or not you did better. So, so we'll probably keep track of them, but I'm not optimistic that they will actually tell us much at the end.
No, although I would assume the more you get, the more heroic and the
Absolutely.
better you have done. So,
Now, here's
expect
the bad bit, Ewan, because if you remember, we now have to knock off 4 points.
Now, I always forget them, and I'm always like, oh, okay, they're not too bad. And then you remind me that I have to knock off 4 points, and all of a sudden.
I think because I rolled really well on skill, I'm going to knock 1 off skill and take me down to 11, and the other 3 off stamina to take me to 16.
I'm gonna have to take two off my luck to go to 8, and 2 off my stamina to go to 16.
Okay. All right. Now, luck seems to work exactly the same way. You can test your luck to reduce damage to you or increase damage to the opponents. It says instructions for restoring skill, stamina, and luck will be given in the pages of the book as appropriate, and stamina will be restored when you rest at home in the evening. So right now we should be, in fact, having lots and lots of stamina pouring, right?
Yeah.
It says stamina bonuses are difficult to come by, so be careful. And luck points will be gained when you find some clues. Okay. Now we have to pick a superpower. Now I was thinking about this, and initially I thought we might pick different ones for the 2 of us, but it looks as if the power you pick gives you different options through the book, so we're going to have to pick the same one, otherwise we'd end up going in different directions.
You can't split the party in a fighting fantasy book.
You can't. And though I was thinking maybe we can pick which power to use in which one, and then the next time pick the different one. But I don't know if once you've made that decision at any point in the book, you're kind of on a track where it now assumes it knows what power you've got, and no longer offers you other chapters to go to. So to make it simple, we will just pick one for both of us to have. It then says, whichever superpower you begin the game with, you will have knowledge of 2 clues which will help you trace and capture Titan City's criminals. Indeed, you will not be able to find some of the villains without knowledge of the appropriate clues. In fact, there are 2 types of clue. Some relate to the villains and their crimes. The ones you start with are of this type. Others relate to the secret F.E.A.R meeting. Without finding the necessary clues to the meeting, you will never be able to prevent it, with disastrous results for Titan City. So bear in mind that you must find these F.E.A.R clues, and remember also that when you try the adventure using a different superpower, the F.E.A.R clues that you need will be held by different villains. Aha. So, knowing that, we now have to pick some stuff. It says, you are Jean Lafayette. Apparently both of us are. The product of a dangerous but successful genetic experiment. Although seemingly normal as a child, it became apparent to you in your early teens that you were far away from ordinary human being. You are gifted with a superhuman power which you've sworn to use only for the benefit of your fellow man. As the Silver Crusader, this is in the 1980s, you are well known to the population of Titan City. Most people admire you, some distrust you, but all members of the underworld fear you. Only your parents, who are both dead, ever knew your real identity and the origin of your powers. In the adventures ahead, you will begin with one of 4 powers. During your daily activities and encounters with disasters and supercriminals, you will have two objectives. First, you must learn the whereabouts of the secret meeting of F.E.A.R, which is apparently the Federation of Euro-American Rebels. I feel I'm happy at using the acronym, to be honest. Which is due to take place within the next few days. This dangerous alliance of master criminals and enemy agents is planning to overthrow the governments of the Western world and establish their own rule. Secondly, you may assess your own performance as a superhero by trying to gain as many hero points as possible. Before you start each adventure, you may choose which superpower to start with from the 4 powers listed below. And you will also start the game with knowledge of 2 clues. Following the description of each superpower, you will find instructions on where to find your clues, which are hidden in the text of the adventure. So before you turn to reference 1 to start the adventure, choose your superpower, locate and read the clues, and enter the information on your adventure sheet. Okay, so here are our possibilities. We can have super strength, the strength of many men. The muscles of your immensely powerful legs and arms bulge through the fabric of your costume. They are developed to the point of perfection, and in combat situations you always fight with a skill of 13. You also have the power to fly through the air at any speed you wish. This allows you to hover unsupported above the ground or to chase and catch up with the fastest jet. And then it gives us various clue options. We'll come back to that if we pick that one.
Yeah.
Or psi powers. You have extraordinary mental abilities. You're able to reach into the thoughts of most other humans and some animals to read their minds and influence them. You also have limited powers to make objects move mentally and even to change the very nature of some elements. However, using this power is an enormous mental effort for you. Each time you use your psi power, you must deduct 2 stamina points. Or we can have enhanced technological skill. Your considerable intelligence has allowed you to develop a whole collection of high-tech gadgetry. Through advanced microcircuitry designs, you've been able to miniaturize most of these gadgets so that they will fit conveniently into a special accessory belt worn around your waist. Whatever the situation, you are usually fortunate enough to have something appropriate to use. However, you've avoided developing weaponry in case any weapon you develop should ever fall into the wrong hands and be used by the criminal element to wreak untold havoc. And option 4, Energy Blast. You're able to summon up electrostatic energy from within your own body and channel it out through your fingertips. You can aim these energy blasts at adversaries or objects, and your control is such that you know before you aim how much force will be needed to deal with them. You've taken a personal oath that you will only stun any human target, no matter how villainous your opponent may be. When using Energy Blast, you need only determine whether or not your aim is true. If you hit a human opponent, the effect will be an automatic stun. Test your aim by rolling 2 dice. If the result is equal to or less than your skill score, the bolt has hit. If the result's higher than your skill, you've missed and a normal battle must be fought, or the situation must be resolved as per the instructions in the text. Sometimes you will not be able to use a second bolt. Each time you use Energy Blast, you must deduct 2 stamina points. Okay, and that is all of our choices. So, do we go for super strength? We can fly, hover, and fight all battles with a skill of 13. Psi powers, at the cost of 2 stamina, we can do stuff with our mind. Quite a lot of stuff, it sounds like. A utility belt, possibly with some cunning flying mammal design on the front, I don't know. With which we can use to solve various problems. Or an energy blast, which again costs 2 stamina points each time we use it, but if we hit, makes everyone a one-shot in combat. So, what do you think?
It's tricky. There's a lot of good uses for all of those things. I quite like the stun, and I quite like the strength, if I'm honest. but I'm open to a lot of suggestions. I don't know if Socks or John or anyone in chat's got any ideas, preference.
I mean, the
Where are you?
the technology one doesn't sound that interesting to me. And Energy Blast, I don't know. I quite like the battles. Um, so I guess I'm leaning between strength and psi powers. So what do you reckon?
To be honest, I think either of those sound good. You choose. I'd be happy with either.
I'll tell you what. I will roll and dice.
Ah, good call.
It's a 2, so strength it is. We have super strength, and now we need to work out our clues. So here we go. To find the first of your clues, turn to reference 127. Okay, this is the first of our clues. It says, the Scarlet Prankster, a fun-loving criminal who delights in playing practical jokes on his unsuspecting victims, has found a new home and one most befitting his sense of humour. When you're in the vicinity of his new residence and are given the opportunity to look for him, subtract 50 from the reference you're on at the time and turn to this new reference to find him. Okay. So,
Minus 50 from reference to find him.
yeah. Scarlet Prankster. Subtract 50. Okay. All right. This is clever. This is using the thing as a thing, you know. The book structure. So and we then get one other clue. The other clue is one of 3 numbers we can turn to. So we need to pick first, second, or third number. Which do you fancy?
Mm, uh, go down the middle. Go number 2.
Okay, the second one is turn to 280. 280. Okay, recently you've learned the true identities of several of the crime world's most notorious supervillains. The Tormentor has been identified as Richard Storm, an uptown heating engineer. Okay. The Ice Queen is none other than Sylvia Frost, society debutante. And Marcus Buletta is known to be the gruesome Dr. Macabre, whose terrible experiments in surgery have shocked the world. Buletta has been planning a jailbreak for months. When he does so, he's likely to rob a chemist immediately for surgical equipment and chemicals. So Dr. Macabre is Marcus Buletta. Okay.
It's
Excellent.
already feels quite cluey and almost a bit like a bit of a detective kind
It
of element
does.
to. Okay.
Okay, right. Those are the clues we get. So, it then says background. So I guess we get to start dying. Sorry, playing. The time of your birth was an anxious moment for your parents and their doctors. Your mother had consented to undergo an experimental form of genetic surgery. The doctors had warned her of the dangers of radiation experiments. Their research program was nowhere near complete. But this she already knew, because she herself was one of the researchers. The work had reached the stage where progress was impossible without testing it on a human subject. Your father had not fully understood the implications when he gave his consent, and 8 pairs of apprehensive eyes watched your arrival into the world. Their first reaction was one of relief. You certainly seemed a normal, healthy baby. Postnatal tests showed no physical deformities whatsoever. In fact, you appeared to be a fine specimen. In your younger years, your development was carefully monitored with a seemingly endless series of physiological and psychological tests, all of which you passed with flying colours. The doctors and researchers congratulated themselves. Their experiments were a complete success. However, the experiments had been conducted in a shroud of secrecy. Had the world known of the risks of the experiment, public outcry would have been overwhelming. It would certainly have put an end to further genetic research, and from your mother's point of view, she had no wish to have the world regard you as an experimental freak. Only a few knew what had really happened. Over the years, the testing stopped as the doctors felt more and more certain there was no need to monitor your progress. As fate would have it, it was just when this testing stopped that it became clear that you were anything but a normal child. Your latent superhuman powers did not show themselves until after the doctors had lost interest. Your parents, who'd become thoroughly fed up with the endless tests, decided that your extraordinary powers must remain a secret from the world. They had no wish to have you studied as some kind of freak for the rest of your life. You have a regular job working in an office of a medium-sized company, but when duty calls you become the Silver Crusader, upholder of justice, and you've taken an oath to serve in the fight against crime in Titan City. Apart from your own super abilities, you have one other device to aid you, your Crime Watch. This neat little device, worn around your wrist, receives and broadcasts transmissions to and from your 2 most important allies. You can be contacted by police headquarters through this Crime Watch, and you can also summon the police to aid you. In addition, your friend and underworld contact, Jerry the Grass, is able to warn you of impending crimes through the Crime Watch. Jerry the Grass has recently become aware of an important meeting about to take place within the next few days. Vladimir Utoshki, leader of F.E.A.R, has been summoning his aides in crime to meet in Titan City. Utoshki, also known as the Titanium Cyborg, is a supervillain whose field of expertise is the electronic enhancement of human abilities. He is part man, part machine, and very dangerous. Jerry the Grass has not yet found out where or when the meeting is due, but one thing is certain. Its purpose is to finalise plans for a scheme which would mean disaster for the Western world. The meeting must be stopped. You must find out where and when this meeting is due to take place and prevent it at all costs. Now, turn over. As you walk the 10 blocks to work that morning, you can't help but feel that something's not quite right. You stop by a telephone booth to consider what it could be. A telephone booth. It's 1985. It's amazing.
A what?
Exactly. The sounds of the
Take out your
city
20p.
are the usual 8 a.m. cacophony. Cars and buses bounce past along Clark Street, their drivers too sleepy to even try to avoid the pits and bumps in the road. A newspaper vendor bawls an incomprehensible headline, something about a robbery, at the crowds of men and women milling past him on their ways to work. Overhead in the sky, the rhythmic beating of a traffic helicopter's blades fades into the distance. An argument is taking place between an elderly businessman and an overlarge woman with an untrained dog, whose sidewalk deposits have offended the businessman. There is nothing unusual. Or is there? The difference is only barely perceptible, but there is a distinct air of tension in the streets. There are nervous twitches in the eyes of the passers-by. The cars are accelerating and braking in a jittery manner, little things like that. To your heightened senses, the atmosphere is pregnant. Today will not be just another day. Your thoughts are broken by the high-pitched wailing of a police siren. A yellow and black Cougar GS screeches around the corner and leaps ahead through the Clark Street traffic before swinging left into Audubon Park. Behind it, the traffic settles back into its regular flow. Your attention drifts back to the argument. A small crowd has built up around the man and woman. Raised voices are taking one side or the other, and the situation is beginning to look nasty. What will you do next? So we can go over and see if we can break up the argument, run after the police car into Audubon Park, buy a newspaper to see if we can find out about the robbery, or ignore everything and go to work.
Decisions. I'll tell you what, as well, then, none of those sound like doors. Unless, of course, the newspaper is being bought from one of those, deposit your coin and open the door and take your newspaper and shut the door type machines.
Yeah, I think the fact that there's a vendor means there
Yeah,
isn't one.
yeah. It's not that.
Not that.
I totally agree.
So realistically, it's. I mean, we can just go to work, but I have a feeling it wants us to do something heroic.
Well, I'm going to be honest, Ben. Breaking up an argument about dog poo doesn't sound that heroic.
I agree with you.
If we're going heroic here.
Yeah, and buying a newspaper, I mean, sure, it's contributing to the economy, but heroic? Which would mean running after the police car into Audubon Park might be the way to go.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try it then. This could be very, very fast death, of course, but we will run after the police car into Audubon Park. Turn to 289.
Don't even know where to begin.
As you enter the park, you pick up sounds of a commotion and follow it to a crowd grouped around a body. Police are trying to move the crowd on. Will you push through to see what's happening, or change into the Silver Crusader? This feels like a no-brainer to me. If we change into the Silver Crusader, they'll take us seriously, right?
Yeah. Otherwise, we'll just get told that it's a crime scene and to move on. Go about your business, go to work.
Anyway, I feel like changing is some kind of door, probably. So we will change into the Silver Crusader.
Phone booth.
And we need to find that phone booth. Yeah. We'll change into the Silver Crusader, turn to 104. Yep. You step as the Silver Crusader towards the scene. A police officer spots you and helps you through the crowd, which parts as you are recognised. On the ground in the centre of the crowd is the body of a man of some means by the look of his expensive clothing. Lying next to him is a gold-trimmed briefcase. While the police busy themselves with moving the crowd on, you may choose to examine either the body, the briefcase, or the surrounding bushes.
I mean, a briefcase sounds like a door.
It does. Yeah, I agree with you. And it's definitely not natural. Whereas surrounding bushes are a bit natural.
Yeah. I fear for some form of poisonous animal that will have us killed at the next encounter.
Yeah. Okay, let's try the briefcase. Yeah, that sounds good. We will examine the briefcase, turn to 211. Papers in his briefcase identify the man as Wayne Bruce. Yes, really. President of Euro-American Security, Inc. There are also documents from his lawyer which relate to divorce proceedings. Other than these, there appears to be nothing else out of the ordinary in his case. Do you wish to visit his home to talk to his wife? Will you head for his office? Or will you leave this apparently simple but brutal mugging in the hands of the police?
I don't know. I'm not sure whether we should leave it in the hands of the police. Wayne Bruce has just been brutally murdered.
I mean, I feel there might be something to learn, but we've been here now. They've seen us. If we then say, "Looks like you've got this one covered," and wander off into the sunset,
Yeah, there's no hero points there. That's for sure.
yeah, we'll try that, John. Yes, we'll try to to gently waft you off to sleep.
Thanks for the alert, John.
Yeah,
Much
thanks for the
appreciated.
look. It is appreciated. So, um, so in that case, it's go to his home to visit his wife, or head for his office.
Yeah, I mean, wife seems like the obvious one.
Yeah, since there were divorce papers, there was nothing in there about anything going on at the office, was there? So
No.
let's try it. We'll talk to the wife. That's turn to 195. A slim red-haired woman opens the door and introduces herself as Wayne Bruce's wife. You break the news to her gently, and to your astonishment, she takes it unemotionally. There was nothing left between Wayne and me, she says. I despise the man. I wouldn't wish him dead, but now he is, I couldn't give a damn. I certainly didn't kill him if that's what you're thinking, and I've no idea who might have done. Maybe someone at the office will know. I don't. If you have psi powers, turn to 348. Otherwise, you may either try his office or leave the whole affair to the police. I guess we'll have to try the office then. At least there are going to be doors there.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Luke, hello.
Oh no, it's Luke.
Okay, we're going to have to try his office then. That's 233.
233. I
233.
feel as though might be doing too much here, but it's all good.
At the offices of Euro American Security, the staff are shocked to hear of their president's murder. Wayne Bruce's secretary, an attractive blonde with dark eyes, introduces you to the company's senior executives, but none can shed any light on why anyone should want to murder their boss. You decide that the incident must have been the mugging it seemed, and that you will leave it to the police. Turn to 73. Yes, Wayne Bruce. Sadly, Wayne Bruce. So turn to 73. We have to leave it to the police anyway.
Ah,
I feel that's less heroic.
yeah, those psi powers would have come in handy.
They could have done, yeah. You change back into your street clothes. Turn to 181.
That feels like something that we might be going back to at some point. That paragraph.
The familiar bleeping on your wrist alerts you. Your crime watch is receiving a message. The electronic voice speaks two words: Parker Airport. Hurriedly, you change into the Silver Crusader and speed towards the outskirts of the city. It never rains, but it pours. The crime halfway there, the crime watch bleeps again. This time, the voice is warning you of another incident at Peter Laboratories. You have no indication of which is more urgent. Where will you go? To Peter Laboratories or to Parker Airport? Yes, Peter Laboratories and Parker Airport.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We do know a thing about the doctor who's about to be released, Marcus Billetta, and the fact that he was going to go after chemical supplies.
We do indeed.
So could that be the laboratories, do you think?
They said chemist, didn't they? I think specifically.
They did.
But there's definitely more of a link there than there is to, I suppose, anybody we've got clues for an airport.
I don't think so. A plumber, a debutante, and the only thing we know about the prankster is we subtract 50 when we're told to look for his lair.
Yeah, which is suitable for somebody of his nature and name, I think they said, didn't they?
Absolutely, yes.
So probably not. Airports aren't that funny, surely. Let's go to the laboratories then.
All right, we will try Peter Laboratories. Turn to
I mean, I've
284.
started to draw the airport, but they can be laboratories now.
We'll go to Peter Laboratories 284. Okay. You quickly change into the Silver Crusader. Again, we were already changed. And rush to the Peter Laboratories. It is near the centre of town, annexed to the nuclear physics department of the university. When you arrive, you're sent straight upstairs to the 3rd floor, but told to be careful. A group of students and professors are huddled by the stairs. You're told what has happened. 4 Alsatian dogs, which were being used in dangerous radiation experiments, have escaped from their cages. They're locked in a room down the corridor and are barking wildly. Although they should not be radioactive to the touch, their bite could be lethal should their saliva enter an open cut. If you survive this episode, you may award yourself a hero point for each of the dogs you capture. But you must deduct 1 hero point for each person who is bitten by a dog. Okay. It then says, if you have, and gives you the 4 powers, and each of them has a different turn to. So we have super strength, and we therefore turn to 237. You step up to the door and wait for the frantic barking to die down. It does not. In fact, the dogs are clawing and jumping at the door, which is beginning to weaken. You grasp the handle and prepare to rush in. Roll 1 die. If you roll 1 to 4, turn to 132. If you roll 5 or 6, turn to 375. Off you go.
It sounds like my cat. It sounds like my cat's trying to get through the door.
Well, you have expertise in this animal wrangling area, so.
That's a 2.
That's a 2. So we turn to 132. The number you rolled is the number of radiation dogs that have escaped through the door and are now rushing into the screaming crowd, jaws wide open and frothing. You slam the door shut. Your immediate duty is to prevent anyone from being bitten. Your superpower will be of no help here. Turn to 82 to fight the dogs. Fight only as many as escaped. If fewer than 4 escaped, return to 120. Note this reference, if you defeat them, to face the dogs left inside the lab. Okay, so we have to return to 120.
Yeah.
If we defeat the
2 that have escaped.
Okay. So we turn to 82 to fight the dogs. Okay. You may take on the dogs one at a time. Take on as many of the dogs there is in the crowd. So we've got 1st and 2nd radiation dog. The first time one of the dogs rolls a higher attack strength than your own, turn to 31. But before you do so, note this reference as you'll be instructed to return to it. If you manage to defeat all the dogs, turn to 193. Okay, so this reference is 82. If we have to return back to it.
We're on 82. Once we finish, we go to 120.
Yep.
And once a dog rolls higher than us, we go to 31.
Exactly.
And then go to 82.
Exactly that. Okay, do you want the 1st or 2nd radiation dog?
I'll take the 2nd.
Okay. The 2nd radiation dog has skill 6 and stamina 5. Remember, we do combat with a skill of 13.
Ah, yes. We do indeed.
Which is handy.
Which is very handy.
Okay. So, we roll 2d6, add our total, and then 2d6 for them and do their total. So I will attack the 1st radiation dog. That's a 6 is a total of 19. He'd need double 6 to actually just tie with me. And he didn't get it. So he takes 2 stamina down.
Nice. Mine is a 6 plus 13 is a 19. And my dog has a skill of 6, so I think that's
done him. Yeah, okay.
Pretty much that.
So each of them are now on 3 stamina. We go for another combat round. I rolled a mere 6, but that's still 19.
Good old super strength.
Yep, and the dog did a 9, so it loses again, I'm afraid. So it's down to 1 stamina.
Nice. I rolled an 8. So that's well out of
That's completely
reach,
out of
I
its reach,
believe.
yes. So it's down to 1 stamina as well. Okay, one more combat round. That's a 7 for me. So a total of 20, which means it can't do it. It's dead or done for.
Nice. Yeah. Oh no, that's a 3 for a total of 16. And the dog rolled a 7, luckily, for a total of 13.
Excellent. So the 2 dogs are down. Excellent. Managed to defeat all the dogs. Turn to 193.
Except do we go to 120?
We might do. Hang on a second.
Because
Yes,
that was the one that was go to
120
120
next.
like something about the remaining dogs in the room,
Okay, yes.
I believe.
That's absolutely right. Yep. So, fight however many dogs are left, one at a time. We'll obviously do 2 at a time. Each
Yeah.
time you are successfully attacked by a radiation dog, roll 1 die. If the result is a 1, 2, or 3, you lose 2 stamina points. A 4 or 5, 2 stamina points and deduct 1 from your attack strength next round. A 6, the dog bites you. Test your luck. If you're lucky, you suffer 3 stamina points of damage. If you're unlucky, you die. Okay?
At least it's not insta death, but yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so do you want the 3rd or 4th radiation dog?
I'll take the 3rd this time.
Okay, that's skill 7, stamina 6. Okay?
Yeah.
And I have the 4th radiation dog. Okay, so
How many were there in total? I'm sorry.
there were only 4 in total. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Okay,
Cool.
so I will attack dog number 4.
Yeah.
I rolled an 8. Total of that's fine. I've hit him first time out. He can't do that.
Very nice. Oh no. Double ones.
Oh God.
For 15.
15 total.
So let's see. They rolled a 7 plus 7 is a 14.
14. That was very, very
like
close to getting
I feel like I
onto an insta-death. Excellent.
dodged the bullet there.
Okay. Next up, I rolled a 10. Dog has taken a hit.
Very good. That's a 9 for me. Plus the 13.
Yep.
Takes way out
of his reach. Yep. Excellent. Round 3. I rolled a double 1 this time.
Oh.
15. And the dog rolled an 11 for a total of 18. So my dog has hit me.
Ooh.
And I roll a 1. So it's just a 2-point stamina hit, thankfully.
Nice. 2 rolls away from an insta-death, though.
Yeah.
Too close for comfort. Right, and mine is that's a 10 on my dice. So that's well and truly.
That's done. Okay.
My dog done.
Radiation Dog 3 is done for. Radiation Dog 4 still has 3 stamina left. So my attack is a double 6 this time. Because that's how life works. So it's down to 1 stamina. And then I rolled a 1 and a 2. So a total of 16. And the dog did a 7 to its 7, which is a total of 14. So even though I rolled a 3, it still failed. So thankfully, we got through that largely unscathed. If you defeat the dogs, turn to 350. Thankfully, 350.
Nice. That 13 super strength in combat is pretty good against little dogs that aren't particularly tough, but could insta kill us if they hit us.
Yes.
It felt good.
You are congratulated by the crowd for having averted what could have been a disaster. Note the hero points that you've scored, deducting 1 point from the original 4 for each bystander that was bitten by a dog. We actually didn't let anyone escape to bite a bystander, I don't think.
No.
As you leave the university, a crowd of autograph hunters has gathered around. Will you slip out the back way to avoid them and make for home, or oblige by stepping out to face the crowd? I don't know. Do we want to meet the fans? I suppose it's always possible we might get a clue or something. But it feels a bit, a bit arrogant for us to go and meet fans after all we did was slap down some dogs.
With our super strength.
Yeah.
Well, it's what the fans want, though, Ben.
It is, and you've got to take care of your fans, haven't you?
Yeah.
Okay, let's step out to face the crowd. We'll turn to 397. The crowd cheers as you walk down the steps of the building. You are surrounded by energetic hands thrusting pieces of paper at you. You've signed a dozen or so autographs when your ears prick up. A cry is coming from a shop a few doors down. Stop, thief! Sounds like a job for the Silver Crusader. You break through the crowd to investigate. Turn to 256.
Does indeed. It might even be a chemist that's being robbed.
You're right, it could be.
Which would be handy. Well, it wouldn't be handy for the chemist, but...
Quick as a flash, you spring into the shop, ready for action. It's a small sweets, candies and tobacco shop. The proprietor, a Mr. Calvin Farquharson, is standing behind the counter in a state of shock, his head buried in his hands. You shake his shoulders and tell him to pull himself together. He composes himself and stammers, "Terror! The little terror pulled a gun, grabbed everything on the counter and ran out through there." He points through the shop to what is apparently the back door. Will you race for the back door to stop the thief before he can get away, or will you grab something to use as cover first? He's got a gun. I don't know the extent to which we're frightened of guns. We're not invulnerable to bullets or anything, are we?
I don't think it mentioned bullet invulnerability.
No, I'm pretty sure it didn't.
Which would be handy. Yes, quick. We're not dead yet.
Not dead.
We're still in it.
We probably deserve to be, because we're completely reacting here. We're not doing anything remotely strategic. We're just charging from disaster to disaster. So do we grab something to use as cover, or is that less heroic?
Let's do it.
Let's grab something. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We'll grab something to use as cover. Turn to 101. 101's got to be a good number. There is nothing around except a garbage can by the back door. You pick up the lid and hold it in front of you as you step up to the door. Turn to 24. You fling open the back door, and your eyes scan the dirty yard outside. In the far corner of the walled yard is a pile of boxes, and you can make out a shoe protruding from behind them. If you have ETS and wish to use a gadget, turn to 402. If you wish to use psi powers, turn to 209. If you wish to use energy blast, turn to 344. Otherwise, turn to 232.
I suppose, to be fair, we did just get to use our super strength in the lab.
We did, yeah. We absolutely did. So otherwise, we're in the otherwise category. Turn to 232. You creep silently over to the boxes. In a single motion, you grab the foot and heave the fugitive from his hiding hole. But when you see what you've caught, your anger rises. The thief can be no more than 9 years old. A young boy, still clutching his booty, a half-eaten goo bar, looks up at you with terrified eyes. You grab his wrist and march him inside. Turn to 316. After giving the young boy an earful, you send him on his way. Then you turn to the shopkeeper. You're furious. You'd thought this was a serious robbery, not merely a youngster's prank to steal a bar of candy. The cowardly shopkeeper has wasted your time. You may gain no hero points for this capture, but you must lose 1 hero point if you knocked out the young thief. In fact, if you did knock him out, you better get moving quickly before any of the passers-by find out what's happened. This is just the sort of thing your critics would pick up on. Will you leave quickly, or would you like to give the shopkeeper a piece of your mind first?
I mean, I feel it's somewhat harsh. We did stop an armed criminal.
Well, allegedly armed, but he turned out not to actually have a weapon.
Yeah.
I suppose if we... There's always the chance that this was not an accident, that this was a deliberate attempt to delay us or distract us in some way.
Yes.
But in that case, why would he need the little boy? Just claiming he'd been robbed would have been enough, wouldn't it? So I guess I would lean towards leaving quickly and ignoring the guy who's wasted enough of our time.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. Turn to 438. This is weird turning to 438. Historically, these books have always had 400 chapters in them. You make your way home and spend the rest of the night relaxing in front of the TV after the day's excitement. You may add 6 stamina points for the rest. Okay, that's useful for me. That gets me back up to 16. The next morning you leave for work early. You travel by bus. As the bus enters Rad Square, you notice a disturbed crowd in the centre of the square. Something is happening. At that very moment your crime watch sounds. You hold it to your ear and hear its message. Cowfield Dairy. Fast. Quickly you get off the bus. Will you investigate the disturbance in Rad Square, or will you follow your crime watch's instructions and head towards Cowfield Dairy, 2 blocks away? I mean, a disturbance could be anything. But when it says Cowfield Dairy fast, it sounds like that's important to me.
Yeah, let's go with it.
Okay? We'll do Cowfield Dairy then. 2 blocks away, turn to 369. You change in a convenient alley and head for the dairy. When you arrive at the gates, everything seems to be in order. Milk floats are returning from their daily rounds and thousands of bottles are clinking their way along conveyors. There's no sign of danger. A short-tailed tabby cat, no doubt a stray, is trying to get in through the gates. You pick the hungry creature up and stroke it. As you wait, your eye catches a familiar-looking figure, turning the corner and walking towards you. It is Chainsaw Bronsky, a well-known murderer, who you thought was well behind bars. Will you apprehend the villain, or does your first duty lie with the needy, and will you instead take the cat to a cat's home? I mean, I feel escaped murderer might be slightly higher priority.
Yeah, I mean, we have a great love for cats on this channel, but
we do. But this is what's confusing me, because I suspect there's something gamey about the cat. I don't know what it is yet, but
it's a gamey cat.
It's a gamey cat. I'm I mean, it seems such a no-brainer that we've kind of got to go with the cat, haven't we?
I'm intrigued, although I do feel as though this could send us on a downward spiral.
A wild cat chase of some kind.
Yeah, yeah, precisely.
It's so obvious that you should go after Chainsaw Bronski rather than the rather than the cat.
I mean, I do wonder though what Chainsaw Bronski is doing at a dairy farm. The cat, I understand why the cat is there. It's full of milk.
Indeed.
Um, but the recently escaped chainsaw criminal, presumably they have a chainsaw. Jumping to conclusions here, I suppose. But
So, what do you think,
I'm
Bronski or
intrigued
the
as to
cat?
whether. Oh, your call, Ben. It's too tough a
I
choice
can't
for
make
me.
this decision. This is an awful one.
Chat.
Because okay, I'll roll a die. Okay,
Yeah, roll the dice.
1, 2, or 3, it's Bronski, and higher than that, it's a cat.
Yeah.
It's a 3. So we go for Chainsaw Bronski. We will apprehend the villain, turn to 3. This could be a terrible, terrible decision, but it feels like such a no-brainer.
It's the dice's fault if it
It
is,
is, yeah.
at least.
You hide behind the gate until Bronski is close. When you can hear his footsteps approaching, you spring out to confront him. The startled killer reaches into his coat and pulls out a weapon, a battery-powered electric knife. Resolve your combat with him. Okay. Chainsaw Bronski has skill 8, stamina 8.
Ooh.
So, we're both going to pile in on him. And I suspect we're going to win this, but we might take a hit or two, you never know.
Yes.
We were only following dice orders, yes, Luke. I rolled a 5.
Yeah. Snap.
Okay,
It's
so
five
we
for me as well.
both ended up with 18. Bronski needs a 10 to tie. And rolled an 8. So his stamina of 8 drops to 6. Sorry, 4.
Four.
We both hit him. Okay, round 2.
And two.
I rolled a 9.
Oh, mine's a 4, I'm afraid.
Okay, so
My
mine
dice are not doing well
is a
tonight.
22. Yours is a 17.
Yeah.
Okay, Bronski rolls 16. We both hit him again. He
Oh.
is defeated. We turn to 93.
They don't make battery powered knives like they used to.
They don't.
Uh,
You take the
blame
murderer to
for-
police headquarters. On the way, he pleads with you not to turn him in. He even gives you some useful information. Apparently, the serpent has been spurned by his actress girlfriend, Lola Manch. She is famous for her quote, "I don't want to be a star, I just want to be an ordinary girl." She always takes the poorest of dressing rooms and has decided to give up her life of decadence as the serpent's girl. He has sworn that, by hook or by crook, she will return to him. Of course, you will not give way to deals with criminals, but you may add a luck point for this information, though actually neither of us have lost any luck, have we?
No. No.
You hand Bronski over to a surprise sergeant at the desk and leave. You may add a hero point for your arrest. Excellent.
That's what we want.
Hero points are good.
So
Okay.
now I wonder how many hero points we would have got for the cat.
Yeah, exactly. We turn to 67. Yes, I'm desperate to find out what would have happened if we got after the cat, but I think we'll never know. We turn to 67. You must start thinking about getting back to work. Outside it's starting to rain, just your luck. Head for work by turning to 111 if you don't know of anywhere else to go. It hasn't prompted us to search for the prankster, has it? So I guess we don't know of anywhere else to go.
Yeah. That makes sense.
You change back into street clothes and get a move on. You're late for work again. Yeah, we barely turned up yesterday, did we? You turn the corner onto Clark Street and stop as you pass Harold's department store. A thought has crossed your mind. You could stop and buy your boss a present of some kind to apologise for being late, but then this would make you even later. Is it worth it? If you wish to go in and look for a suitable gift, turn to this, or if you want to get to work as quickly as possible, turn to that. Harold's department store. I mean, that's got a door, right?
You would assume.
Yeah. I think we have to stick our nose in through the door of Harold's, I suspect, because it's a
Yeah.
door.
I mean, I don't want to buy boss a gift, but I suppose we could do some window shopping. Have a little browse.
Yeah,
Whilst on the
he
way to
wants a
work.
window. Yeah. Okay, let's do that. We'll go in and look for a suitable gift. Turn to 429. This could be a terrible decision. 429. What can you get him? An apple, a bottle of whiskey, a new tie. You decide to go for something a bit more imaginative. Do you want to head downstairs to the book department or upstairs to the games department? I mean, games or book?
That.
We're literally holding a game book, so.
Yeah, I'm going to say games.
Games. Okay, games it is. The cat is in the game department. It could well be because we left it just abandoned by the dairy, didn't we? Games department. 355.
I mean, the Scarlet Prankster is more likely, I feel, to be in the games department.
True.
Not for any logical reason. Just, gut instinct.
There must be something he'd like. No doubt he's already got Monopoly. What about Trivial Pursuit? Looks interesting. Or how about Dungeons and Dragons? He probably hasn't got the imagination. As you're perusing the games, 4 bikers walk in ripped jeans and dirty leather jackets. Trouble. You watch them from the corner of your eye. They're in the women's underwear department and are holding bras up to their chests and laughing. A middle-aged woman comes over to stop them and an assistant manager steps in to help. Tempers rise. Just when you are wondering whether or not to join in, one of the bikers throws his jacket to the floor. He clasps his hands together, and to the horror of the unsuspecting floor staff, he bursts into flames. The others do likewise, and 4 flaming bodies stomp around the shop, setting fire to everything they touch. The Fire Warriors, of course. Why did you not recognise those no-good delinquents earlier? You'd better act quickly. If you have super strength, turn to this, sight hours, well, yada yada. We have super strength. So we turn to 133.
I hope they're not setting fire to the Monopoly. Christmas is coming up.
Indeed. You jump over the counter and change quickly into the Silver Crusader. You will have to be careful not to stay too close to the Fire Warriors as their flames will burn you. Perhaps just your presence will be enough to frighten them away. You spring out and order them to stop their foolishness and leave the store. They merely laugh at you. That didn't work. There's only one thing left for it. You'll have to fight them. Okay. So we have 4 Fire Warriors. It does say fight them one at a time, but obviously we'll take them 2 at a time.
Yeah.
Each time we're hit, we roll a die, and on a 1 or a 2, we lose an extra stamina point due to their fire. Okay?
Yeah.
Right. So, first or second one?
I'll take the first one this time.
Okay. The first one is skill 7, stamina 6.
7, 6.
And I'm going to launch an attack. That's an 8 plus 13 is 21, which guarantees a hit against my Fire Warrior.
Very nice. Right, mine is an 8 plus 13.
Excellent.
Which I believe is the same.
Yep.
And does the same thing.
Brilliant.
Guarantees.
They're both down to 4 stamina. And on we go with round 2. I rolled a 4, sadly, which is 17 total. But a 4 for the warrior as well. So he takes another 2.
Very nice. I rolled a 5 plus 13 is 18. And they rolled an 8 plus a 7, which is 15. Brilliant.
So both of them are down to 2 stamina. Okay. Hopefully the last round. I rolled a 7. That's a total of 20.
Very nice.
My opponent rolled an 8. He is done.
And mine is a 9, which gives me a 22.
Which is means too much. Yeah.
Mine is down as well.
Yeah, good. So we now have the 3rd and 4th fire warriors to fight. Do you want number 3 or number 4?
I will take number 4, please, Ben.
Okay. Skill 7, stamina 5.
Wonderful. For everyone watching, I'm purposefully not offering Ben the choice because he has all the numbers written in front of him, so yeah. It's a little unfair.
It is.
So, we'd alternate.
Yes, it would be silly for me to pick, frankly. Okay, I roll a 12, so mine takes 2 stamina hit.
Very nice. Mine is a 9, which takes me to 22, and mine takes 2.
Round 2. I roll a 7, so a total of 20, which is too much for my one.
Yeah. And I rolled a 4, which brings me to 17.
Mm-hmm.
And they rolled an 8, which brings them to 15.
Right.
So 2 more.
And hopefully last round. Oh, I rolled a 5, so a total of 18 against a 5. So it's fine. They're down.
Very nice. And I rolled a 9, which
is enough.
Mine is done.
Great. If you defeat them all, turn to 380. You definitely defeated them all, and handily at that. You bind the fire warriors with rope and help the staff clear the damage until the police arrive. You may claim as many hero points as the number of fire warriors you captured. So 4. That's good, isn't it? Excellent. Then you better change back to Jean Lafayette and make your way to work. If you want to run to work, turn to 301. If you feel it would be quicker to take the subway train, turn to 409.
I mean, I feel we'd know at this point, but I don't know. what do you want to do, Ben? I don't know where I was going with that. I feel it's not our first day at work with, although it might be going on recent events.
I mean, subway trains have doors.
They do.
Also, every time we go in anywhere or to anywhere, we immediately stumble across crime happening. So maybe the subway is more likely to be a haven for major crime, I guess.
Luke says subway. Let's go with the subway.
Subway it is. Turn to 409. The office is only 2 stops away. Surprisingly, you don't have to wait long for a train to arrive. You sit and contemplate a good excuse to give to Mr. White, who's bound to be in a foul mood when you arrive. But a cry interrupts your thoughts. Help, you hear, from a voice at the other end of the carriage. Oh no, what is it this time? As if in answer, the voice cries, "Pickpocket!" You'd better see if you can help, but there will be no opportunity to change into the Silver Crusader. Will you go and help the man, or will you ignore him and concern yourself with getting to work on time for once? I mean, we could ignore him and try and get to actual work, but I feel we've got to at least go and say hi, haven't we?
Yeah, it's not very heroic not to help somebody that's
Indeed.
screaming help on a subway.
We'll go and help the man. Turn to 185. You rush up to a puny looking, bespectacled man who's shaking with fright. There, he cries, pointing to a man running up through the next carriage. He's stolen my wallet. You race after him. No one else moves. They don't want to get involved. If only you could change into the Silver Crusader. Roll 2 dice and compare the total with your skill score. If it's less than or equal, turn to this, and if it's greater than, turn to that. You fancy rolling, or should I?
You go for it, Ben.
Okie dokie. I rolled a 7, which is less than my skill score. So I turn to 166. You gain ground and catch up with the pickpocket. As you grab him, he spins around to face you and draws out a knife. You'll have to fight him with your bare hands, as you cannot risk revealing yourself as the Silver Crusader. Now, I'm going to suggest that what this means is we also can't use our super strength, right? Or can we? Because that wouldn't be obvious to people, would it?
I don't know. I suppose it depends on how obvious we are. You know, if this was a role playing game, you'd roll for performance or deception or
Yeah.
something. You could do it, I feel, but it's not necessarily a given.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I I mean, realistically, I'm guessing we probably can use strength because we are obviously dressed in a suit or something, aren't we? Um, as long as we're not picking him up by his toe and swinging him around our head.
Yeah,
Um,
you could pull your punches to the extent that it would be enough to
yeah.
see away with a thug, but not come across as
So
superhuman.
I think we probably can. So skill 13 for us then. Okay. He is skill 7, stamina 6. So my attack is a 9,
Mine's 10.
and his response is a 4. So he's down to stamina 2. We attack again.
Yeah.
That's an 8.
Mine is a 7.
And he did a 5. So he is done. That was fast and quiet. If you defeat him, turn to 296. You go through the man's pockets to retrieve the wallet. He's carrying some peculiar things, no doubt the pickings of his trade. Along with the wallet, you find a cigarette packet which contains a crumpled piece of paper, a tape cassette, and a map. Before handing the pickpocket over to a security guard on the train, you manage to take one of these from him. Which did you take? The cigarette packet, the cassette tape, or the map?
Wow.
So the
What are you
cigarette
thinking,
packet has a
Ben?
crumpled piece of paper in it. We've got a map, or we've got a tape cassette. What do you think?
I'm going to be honest, they all sound really intriguing.
They
I want to
do.
know what's set. I want to know where the map leads, and I want to know what's in a crumpled up bit of paper in a cigarette packet.
Yeah, me too. Um, I can't. I mean, it's hard for me to choose. I
It's
yeah.
no, you go.
It could be. I was just going to say, the crumpled up paper in the cigarette packet looks like he's actively tried to hide it.
Yes, yeah. It's kind of where I was going, right? So it's a pickpocket. They could steal a map off a tourist
Yeah.
potentially without meaning to get that. As they could a cassette player off of somebody if they've stolen a Walkman and like the music.
Yeah.
But as you say, a crumpled up bit of paper in a cigarette packet has some kind of intent behind it.
Let's try it then. See what it says. The cigarette packet, we turn to 423. You study the cigarette packet. It's an ordinary packet of Carlsbergs, but contains no cigarettes. The piece of paper inside makes no sense at all, a few meaningless words strung together. Is it really meaningless, or perhaps some kind of code? It means nothing to you. If you have ETS, you could take it home and run it through your decoding computer. But this will take some time and you ought to be getting to work. Otherwise, you can save it and give it some thought later. Turn to 86. Okay.
If only Wayne Bruce was still alive, we could take it to his place,
We
and
could.
he'd
Yeah.
have some kind of technology that could help us.
Probably would. I feel strongly that that's likely. Um, turn to 86, yeah. 86. The train stops at Grim Street Station and you get off to go to work. You settle into your desk discreetly. No such luck. Lafayette, get in here at once. No sooner had you stepped through the office door than Jonah White's booming voice summoned you. You creep into his office. Jonah White, yes.
Oh, perfect.
You creep into his office, mumbling scanty excuses for being late yet again. Enough, he yells. What do you think we're running here, a charity? Do you suppose I should be grateful you even grace us with your presence? Very noble of you indeed, to even bother coming in at all. Well, I tell you what, I'm feeling kind today. You can have the rest of the day off without pay. And if you're not in first thing tomorrow morning, you can start looking for another job. You slink out of his office with your tail between your legs. How can you tell him what you've been doing? And now you've been suspended for a day. Where will you go? Will you spend the day at Wisneyland, the amusement park, or will you go downtown, perhaps to do some shopping? I'm just thinking, prankster.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Wisneyland sounds a plausible place for a prankster, doesn't it?
Sounds quite the funny name.
Yeah, and it does say it's an amusement park.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll try that. Turn to 15. Wisneyland is swarming with holidaymakers enjoying their day out at the amusement park. The smell of candy floss and hot dogs hangs in the air, and as you stroll about, youngsters clutching stuffed animals run laughing past you. Screams of delight from roller coaster riders turning through the corkscrew break through the general hubbub. You're going to enjoy yourself today. Which ride do you want to try? The Big Dipper, the Fun House, or the Dodgems? Well, I mean, Fun House? Same logic?
Definitely.
Yeah?
Yeah.
174. You pay the admission charge and enter the funhouse. You walk along a narrow passageway. As you turn a dark corner, a luminous skeleton appears in front of you, shrieking wildly. You jump and then laugh, just one of the scares of the funhouse. Further down the passage, your feet stumble on a wobbly floor. Then the walls begin to sway. Suddenly, your foot steps on something and you fall forwards. But this time it's not a wobbly floor. You fall through the ground and land on a rubber mattress in a dark pit. Although it's pitch black, you can tell you're not alone. Another figure touches you. A voice calls out and you answer. Oh, thank God someone else is here, gasps a man's voice. I've been here for 2 hours. I can't find a way out. And not only that, my wallet has gone. I'm sure it's been stolen. And I don't think this was any accident. My name is Grant Morley, a reporter on the Titan Times. I've been covering an expose to reveal the identity of the Scarlet Prankster. Earlier I met an informant at the Big Wheel who gave me a key to one of the rooms here where he thought I could get some useful information. That key was in my wallet. You consider the situation. The Scarlet Prankster is a dangerous criminal who delights in grisly practical jokes. You decide to change into the Silver Crusader under cover of the pitch darkness. Then the two of you search the walls for a way out. You find a hidden door, which lets you into the main room of the funhouse. If you have super strength, turn to 248, and the others are the same option. So we have super strength, we turn to 248.
This isn't searching for his lair, is it? No, that would be silly because it said that we've got super strength, and super strength gave us the clue to deduct 50 from whatever we were searching for.
Yeah, and that was
So
our
that seems-
first clue, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it wasn't the one we chose. That was the one that all
Yeah.
super strength people are given. So
Yeah, okay. So it's turned to 248.
Cool. Sorry, I just
No,
wanted
that's good
sure.
thinking. I was wondering about how it goes. Aha, here we go. If you want to check some of the special attractions of the funhouse, turn to 143. Alternatively, you may know exactly where you want to look. If this is the case, you will know how to get there, and you may go there immediately. So we are 248 minus 50 is 198.
Wait, or is it? What was the number we were going? Oh no, you go for it. Go for it.
Subtract 50 from
Yeah.
where you are. So it's 248 minus minus 50 is 198.
Yeah. My apologies. I thought it was minus 50 from where we were going to.
You fly up towards the central dome of the funhouse. Sure enough, your information was correct. High up on the wall of the funhouse is a door. You alight outside the door, burst inside, and startle a hunched figure dressed in a colourful jester's costume. He grabs for a piece of paper on the table in front of him and tries to stuff it into his mouth, but you're too quick for him. You manage to stop him eating the paper and must now fight him. The Scarlet Prankster has skill 9, stamina 8. I think we've got this guy beaten. So, away we go.
You say that.
I rolled a 3 to start with.
Wow. The good news is I rolled a 12.
That is good news. He rolled a 10. So we now need to work out which of us he went for. Odds or evens?
I'll go evens.
Okay. And he did in fact go for you. So he is down by 2 stamina and he didn't hit you. Great. Next round.
Yeah.
This time I rolled a 7. That's a bit better.
Mine's a 3. So it's a 16 for me.
And he rolled a 6, a total of 15. He takes 2 hits. So he's down to stamina 2.
I think you might be right, Ben. I want to speak to you soon, but I think we've got him.
And I just rolled a 9.
Mine's a 7 for 20.
And he's rolled a 7 as well. He is done. If you defeat him, turn to 333. And we definitely defeated him.
We did indeed.
You pick up the piece of paper he was trying to destroy. It bears the emblem of F.E.A.R. The message is short. Do not forget, the meeting starts at 9 a.m. Unfortunately, it bears no more information, but this time could be useful to you. You carry the Scarlet Prankster down to the ground and hand him over to the police. You may add 3 hero points for capturing him. That's excellent.
It's excellent.
Okay. 3 hero points is brilliant. Okay. All right. I'm going to suggest, actually, that might be a good time to take a quick break. We seem to be a fair way through it, and it's a number that's incredibly easy to remember in the events if I happen to, forget, let the book close without it.
Indeed, and we have just defeated the Scarlet Prankster, so
we have just
feels like a milestone.
I know, Luke. It's a genuine shock, isn't it? We've actually survived long enough to need a break.
It's been a while.
It has been a while. Every time we do this, I create a little break card in the vain hope that we might actually need it. We never do, but tonight we do. Okay.
We'll see you in about 5 minutes after Ben and I have revelled in our glory of surviving to the halfway point.
As far as I'm concerned, this is almost a victory in itself.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, please stick around. We'll come back and finish off the book as best we can in 5 minutes or so. And welcome back to our remarkably still living characters as we plough through this copy of Appointment with Fear. It's amazing. So far, we're not dead. This is very special. You never know.
And we're not overly confident at all because of that fact.
So we've got our 3 hero points, and we now turn to 103, apparently. Where are you heading as you leave Wisneyland? Will you make your way downtown to do some shopping or go home? If you decide to go home, you may either want to rest for the evening, in which case you can gain stamina back, or you may wish to sacrifice stamina gain and spend the evening at the theatre if you can get a ticket for tonight's performance of Rats. I mean, I think I've always wanted to see Rats somehow. Or shopping. What do you fancy?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of our clues
Yeah.
and whether we would find a heating engineer or a debutante, high society debutante, I assume.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing
Thing,
she'd
or a
be more
chemist.
likely to be found at the theatre, wouldn't she?
Yeah. But then the chemist and the heating engineer are probably more likely to be found at the shops.
Absolutely. That's right. What do you fancy?
Hmm. Too tough, Ben. Let's go see Rats. You like Rats. You
I'm a
said
fan
you
of Rats.
want to see Rats, yeah.
Any play
Don't need
named
to
after
say you like
vermin,
Rats.
clearly the way to go.
It's an
Yes.
interesting choice, but
Excellent, we'll do that. Tonight's performance of Rats turned to 43. We will see if we can get a ticket.
I hear it's better than Rat on a Hot Tin Roof.
It probably is, yeah. Yeah. Yep, turn to 43. See if we can achieve this. You're in luck. A ticket for tonight's performance has just been handed in. It's not the best seat in the house, but you get a good view of the show. It's all about a group of rats who live in a rubbish tip and sing to each other for amusement. A rather peculiar plot, you think? But you're particularly taken by the star, Lola Manche. In the last scene, as she's singing the title song, the show is interrupted. At first, you thought this character in a serpent's costume was part of the show, but when he picks her up in mid-song and runs off the stage, you realise she's been kidnapped. You find a dark corner in the back of the theatre and change costume. Will you wait outside the theatre for the kidnapper to make his escape, or follow him backstage? You may remember your resolution and decide against intervening. If you will simply leave things be and go home, turn to 79. I don't remember we made a resolution like that.
No.
So, wait outside the theatre or follow him backstage?
Let's pursue.
Pursue. Follow him backstage. I agree that's more heroic. Follow him
Yes,
backstage,
indeed.
turn to 169. You rush across the stage and disappear into one of the wings after the kidnapper. Stairs lead down to the dressing rooms. At the foot of the stairs are 3 rooms. Room number 1 has 2 stars on the door. The room to number 2 has 1 star and is slightly ajar. Room number 3 has no stars on it. Which will you try? Well, she's star of the show, isn't she? Supposedly.
Yeah. So you would imagine.
But then, would he have taken her to her dressing room?
That's a very good question, Ben. One I'm not qualified to answer.
Nor am I. It seems like a completely random thing to me. Roll a dice.
Yeah.
That's room number 2, apparently, which is the one with 1 star and slightly ajar. Okay?
Yeah.
That's 288 we turn to. You push the door open and step into an untidy dressing room. Clothes are strewn about the floor and jars of makeup lie open on the dressing table in front of the mirror. But otherwise the room is empty. You search through the mess for a clue to the serpent's whereabouts, but find nothing. Do you want to try room number 1 or room number 3? I think number 1 was the one with 2 stars on the door, and number 3 was the one with none. So
Yeah.
whichever you fancy.
Let's go with the stars.
Let's go with the stars. 322. Evidently, this is the theatre's most luxurious dressing room, normally used by the stars. Elegant drapes line the walls and a border of light surrounds the mirror, but it is untouched. It looks as though it hasn't been used for weeks. There's nothing for you to find here. Will you try room number 2 or room number 3? Well, number 3 is all we've got. 117.
Yeah, that's the one.
The dressing room shows obvious signs of a struggle having taken place recently. Theatrical clothes, ripped and soiled, lie strewn about the place among smashed bottles of theatrical makeup. Evidently, the kidnapper and his victim had something of a fight here. But where are they now? The open window gives the game away. It leads out into the parking lot behind the theatre. And as you poke your head out to look for the serpent, you hear the sound of squealing tyres. The serpent has escaped with his victim. You will never catch him now. You change back into your street clothes and make for home. Turn to 79. Oh, that's a shame.
Sorry, Ben. That's
No,
my bad. Cool.
it's the way it goes. After a good night's sleep, you set off for work the next morning. To your great relief, your crime watch does not sound at all, and you actually arrive before Jonah White, who is astounded to find you hard at work when he arrives. You may add a luck point if you have any to add, as the danger of losing your job has now passed. At 5 o'clock, you leave. Will you change into the Silver Crusader and visit police headquarters to find out why so little has been happening on the crime front all day? Or will you pay a surprise visit on your aunt who lives out in the suburbs?
I mean, I do want both. I want to find out why the crime watch has been quiet all day. I also worry that if we go visit our aunt, that she's going to inform us that our uncle Ben has
Yeah.
met his demise.
Yeah, I'm concerned about that as well.
But then we might be able to do something about it. Who knows?
Yeah.
You're cool.
Oh, God. Dice time, I think. I really don't know what to do.
There's nothing to go on, I don't think, is there?
It's aunt, I'm afraid. So let's find out what happens. We will pay a surprise visit on the aunt who lives out in the suburbs. Turn to 134. Your aunt lives in Cockney Green, a pleasant suburban district to the east of the Titan Centre. The bus drops you off at Cockney Cemetery, leaving you with a 5-minute walk to her house. Will you take a leisurely stroll around the outside of the cemetery, or will you take a shortcut through it? Again, I don't really have any reason to go either way. I suppose a shortcut, possibly?
Yeah, why not?
Take a shortcut through it. Turn to 85. The sky clouds over as you enter the cemetery, and by the time you're halfway across, the atmosphere is decidedly spooky. A scraping noise to your left attracts your attention. The noise is coming from a recently dug grave, and you step over to get a closer look. Your eyes widen as you see a movement in the soil on top of the grave. Something is trying to get out. A hand reaches out of the soil, and you're frozen to the spot as a huge shape lifts itself out of the pit. You recognise the creature. You've come across him once before. The webbed claws of the grey-skinned beast flex as it steps towards you. The reincarnation, the beast that cannot be killed. Why on earth has he been buried in an ordinary grave? Probably some idiot official didn't believe the stories. But one thing is certain. The reincarnation must not be allowed to stalk Titan City again on its mission of destruction. And then it's the split by superpowers again. So we have super strength and we turn to 373. The reincarnation is a powerful creature which may not be killed, but you may be able to knock it unconscious. If you reduce its stamina to 0, it will remain so for 2 days. Resolve the battle. It has skill 10, stamina 12.
Ooh.
So they're not messing about when they say this is a powerful creature.
No.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah. Let's go.
I rolled a 9, so a total of 21.
Mine's a 7, so that'll be a 20. No.
And it rolled a 10, which is also a 20. So it so effectively it takes 2 stamina hit down to 10, and even if it went after you, it's still no damage done, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that is right, isn't it? We've got strength. We've got skill 13 in
skill
combat.
13, yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so round 2. I rolled a 7, a total of 20.
Mine's a 6 for a 19.
And it rolled a 7 for a total of 17. So it's now down to 6 stamina. And I rolled a 10, which it can't touch.
Mine's a 9.
Excellent.
For 22.
It could theoretically tie with you, but it didn't. It rolled a 3. So it is now down to just 2 stamina. I've rolled a 7, total of 20.
Mine's a 3 for a 16.
However, it rolled a 5, so it is done. If you defeat the creature, turn to 239. There is no one about to help you. What can you do? Simply leave the creature where it lies? You decide the best thing to do is place it back in its grave and cover it until you can bring the police to dispose of the reincarnation more effectively. You cannot gain any hero points for this encounter, as no one has seen you defeat it. Such are the rewards of a devotion to public service. Now you continue by setting off once more for your aunts. Turn to 76. I'm not completely convinced that turned out to be a shortcut.
It wasn't too much hassle, to be fair.
Your Aunt Florence is overjoyed to see you, but wonders why you're looking so untidy. She fusses about making you tea and offering you cream cakes. You're exhausted by the day's activities and are happy to let her fuss. You decide to spend the night there rather than face the long journey home. Next morning is, thank goodness, a Saturday. No work, if indeed you still have a job left to go back to at all. You leave your aunt's and you must now decide where you will go. There's an exhibition of home appliances of the future at the World's Court Exhibition Centre. Or you may go to watch the presidential cavalcade on 7th Avenue. The president is coming to Titan City. Alternatively, the Titan Tigers are playing a friendly football game against the Metro Mohawks. You can go and watch. So, appliances of the future, presidential cavalcade, or the football game.
I'm going to be honest, Ben. I think the least interesting sounding one is probably the one we should do. And we should go and check out the appliances.
The appliances of the future. Excellent. 425.
I mean, if we're going to find an evil heating engineer...
I mean, I take your point. $425. The crowds are gathering to get into the exhibition, and a huge banner proclaims, "Appliances of the future. See tomorrow's home technology today." As you wander through the exhibitions, there are many excited voices enthusing over the more ambitious gadgets on show. The clothing service station, for example, is a machine which takes in dirty washing and cleans, dries and irons it ready to wear. A cocktail composer puts together all the ingredients of a cocktail. The perfect opponent is a games playing computer which can learn the rules of any game and will play at 8 different levels of skill. Robots are there in many forms. A tidy maid remembers where everything goes in a room and will replace everything in its proper position. On a large stand, a man with round glasses and a loud voice is demonstrating his firm's tireless butler, a man-sized android which will do many home chores. You stare at him. His face looks familiar, but you can't quite place him. The android passes him a cigarette as he's bending down, but catches his hair and moves it slightly. A wig, of course. With a bald head, his identity is obvious, although he's not easy to recognise without the cybernetic enhancers he wears on his arms and his distinctive and very dangerous eye goggles. It most certainly is Vladimir Utoshki, head of F.E.A.R. You quickly nip away to change into the Silver Crusader and return to capture the villain. But he's quick. He sees you coming, flicks a switch at the back of the android and darts off into the crowd. A whirring sound comes from the android. It turns towards a man studying its arm and smashes him across the face with a powerful blow. Screams break out and the android goes berserk, charging into the crowd, arms flailing. Will you pursue Utoshki, or is your first duty to save the visitors from the mad android? It's a tough call.
Moral dilemma.
Because Utoshki is definitely the guy we're after.
The head of F.E.A.R.
Yeah. But, I mean, oh. I think,
Unless you've got any strong feelings either way, I'm edging towards the head of F.E.A.R. I'm all about the greater good.
okay, let's pursue Utoshki. We will turn to 387. That seems perfectly reasonable to me. You race after Utoshki through the milling crowds and catch a glimpse of him leaving the exhibition through a fire door. You follow him into an alley. He's nowhere to be seen. He must have run to one end of the alley and into the street. Will you try turning left or right? Oh, God. Left or right?
Well. Well. It's a 50-50.
It is. What do we normally do? Normally we roll a die. Let it decide.
Yeah, if there's no door, we'll roll a dice, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Left or right? I shall roll a die and see what it says. It says right. 324. You emerge from the alley into a crowded street and look left and right. Damn, you cannot see him. You run a few paces along the street to search for any signs of him, but it's hopeless. He's escaped. Turn to 75. This is tough. You remember that the president is coming to Titan City today. Do you want to go down to 7th Avenue to watch the cavalcade? If so, turn to 21. If you'd rather not, you can go and watch your favourite football team, the Titan Tigers, play the Metro Mohawks instead. President or football? I'm trying to think. Football, says Luke. We can do that. I mean, I have no idea if I don't know that any of our it's actually a British game, but I strongly suspect it may be possibly American football.
Judging on the references to superhero pop culture, they are all very, very American, I believe. The ones that we've come across so far.
So far, yeah.
We went to Disneyland, you know, so.
We did go to Disneyland. Presidential
Although
football.
we did also go see Rats, so it's 50-50, I guess, at this point.
Luke does have terrible taste in teams, you're right. But, okay, so presidential or football? Luke's very keen we go and see the football.
Well, if no one else is chapped up, let's go see the football.
And Crit is not entirely helpful with his presidential football comment. So yeah, we will do the football then. We'll turn to 114.
It'd be an interesting way to run elections, though. Assemble your team and play four quarters.
You
See who
arrive at
wins.
the stadium and buy your ticket for the game. It promises to be an exciting game as both teams are evenly matched. Definitely not a Luke team then. You're hoping that the Tigers will have the edge. They recently spent over $1 million on fullback Streak Gordon, and you're anxious to see how he turns out. But neither side is able to maintain the advantage, and by half time, a last minute push by the Mohawks has levelled the score. The second half starts with a fabulous scoring run by Streak Gordon, but amid the excitement, screams of terror are coming from the crowd. Part of the stand is collapsing. You rush off to change and then nip underneath the stand to find out what's happening. You're amazed by what you see. The collapse is not a structural fault as you thought. Standing between two iron girders is a huge, hulking creature with brown, scaly skin which is shaking the girders and groaning with the effort. You order it to stop. It sees your shimmering uniform and roars loudly. "Puny human," it speaks. "What can your pitiful efforts hope to achieve against the creature of carnage? Many must die before I will be still." Again the creature shakes the stand, and this time a crack appears in the metre-thick concrete above. You better react quickly. And then it splits based on powers. We have super strength, so we turn to 315.
We do indeed.
You fly up in the air and come down with a mighty thump in the creature's chest. The blow wins it, and it temporarily releases the girders and turns its attention to you. Resolve this battle. The creature of carnage has skill 12, stamina 14.
It's definitely picking up in power
They
as
are
we go.
ramping up the stakes, aren't they?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Get them warm.
All right. Skill 12, stamina 14. And I'm going to roll a 2.
Oh,
Total
mine's
of
a
15.
4. 4 for a 17.
And it's rolled a 10 for a 22.
No.
So you said you'd be evens, didn't you?
Yeah. If not,
It's hit me. So I take my stamina hit. Okay. Round
So
2.
be it. So if you're the cause of our death during this game by sending us to the football.
I rolled a 9 this time.
I rolled a 9 then too.
And it rolled a 7. So that means it takes 4 stamina damage. It's down to 10. Excellent.
Still substantial. In fact, still as high as any other thing that we've faced.
This time I rolled an 8.
Mine's a 9. A different 9, but a 9.
And it rolled a 7. It's down to 6 stamina. Very good. And my attack? An 8.
Oh, mine's another 4 for 17.
And it's rolled an 8. So I've beaten it. The question is whether or not it went for you or me.
Yes.
And it went for you, I'm afraid. So that's going to cost you 2 stamina.
That's okay.
So it is down to, what was it before? It was down to 6, wasn't it? So it's down to 4 now. I rolled a 3.
Mine's a 7 for a 20.
And it's rolled a 12.
Hey, Infinite Monkey Tails. Thanks for the raid.
Hey, IMT, welcome. And it's hit me again. So that's knocked me down
to combat with, what's the name, Ben?
It is called the Creature of Carnage.
The Creature of Carnage.
Yes.
The most fearsome foe we've faced.
It is amazing that we're still alive, but to be fair, this fight isn't over yet.
No, yeah.
Um, okay.
Next
I rolled a
round.
6 this time.
Mine's a 3 for 16. I hope masks went well, by the way, in Philip Monkey's house. We did see that's what you were doing just before we started.
I'm afraid it's beaten both of us.
Ah,
And it's hit me again. Oh, okay.
I was getting my pen ready then.
All right.
Right,
Next up,
next up.
I
Mine's a
rolled an
5.
11 this time.
Ooh, that's good. So mine's 18 total.
Good. It's rolled a 7, which is enough for 19 total. So it's down to 4. The question is whether or not it hit you or me. This time it hit you, I'm afraid, so it's cost you 2
Ah,
stamina.
that's okay. That takes me to 12.
Then I roll an 8.
And mine is a 6.
And that will do it, because that's a 4 from it. So it is done.
Nice.
That hurt a bit, though.
Mm,
That took me from 16 to 10 in a single battle on stamina. Okay.
yeah, it's definitely
So we have
more
defeated the
challenging
creature of
than the
carnage
dogs.
131. Yes, that was a. Despite our artificially boosted strength, that was a real fight.
Mm.
As the police arrive to help you with the bulky creature, a remarkable transformation takes place. The creature of carnage shimmers and shrinks slowly in size. Moments later, it lies on the ground, not as a creature at all, but as a man whose face you recognize. The creature of carnage is none other than Ilya Karpov, agent of F.E.A.R. You may add 5 hero points for this important capture. Excellent. Then turn to 40.
I'll make that 17 hero points now, Ben. That seems good.
That's remarkable. Yeah. The game has been abandoned and will be replayed at a later date. What will you do now? You can go and watch the presidential cavalcade, or go home to rest for the day. I mean, presidential cavalcade, plausibly.
Yeah, it's an option. Let's take it.
All right.
Seems good.
Presidential cavalcade, turn to 21.
We're not quite on death's door yet, so.
The citizens of Titan City have turned out in their thousands to greet the president. They line both sides of 7th Avenue 6 deep, and the presidential car is still not due to arrive for half an hour. Spirits are high. There is much flag waving, and bands are playing in the streets as a prelude to the arrival. Will you spend the next half hour in a coffee bar waiting for the main procession? Or will you find a place in the crowd which offers a decent view? I feel like coffee shops have doors, right?
Yeah.
It's as good a justification as any. I don't have any other way to assess it, to be honest.
No, make it.
So
Make it so, Ben.
let's spend the next half hour in a coffee bar. Turn to 100. Manny's coffee shop has never been so busy. The excitement surrounding the president's arrival has brought all sorts of people to the streets. You sit down at a table next to a man wearing a shabby brown overcoat, and the two of you are soon talking. The man is very drunk and says more than he should. It seems he has some connections with the underworld and lets slip some information. Apparently the ocean behemoth has been seen in Titan Harbour, and the man knows the purpose of the huge fish creature's visit. It seeks revenge on the one who defeated it a year ago. That person was none other than yourself. You remember the encounter well. It is a huge water-spawned creature which cannot be allowed to enter Titan City. You make a mental note to explore the harbour as soon as you can. Now turn to 157. While you're trying to pry more information out of the man, you forget about the time. Suddenly the noise from the crowd outside swells up. The president is arriving. You leave the table and push your way out onto the street. Before you can catch a glimpse of the professional, loud crack sounds, followed by shouts and screams. You freeze. Surely not. That crack sounded like a gunshot, and from the reaction of the crowd, your fears could well have been realised. You nip inside a doorway and change into the Silver Crusader. When you fight your way through the crowds to the president's car, it's all over. He's been shot neatly through the chest and killed immediately. The bullet has been dug out of the car seat, and you turn it over in your hand. 4 letters are engraved on it. F.E.A.R. The outlawed organisation has succeeded in assassinating the president. You must capture the heads of F.E.A.R at their meeting before they're able to wreak any more havoc on the world. Turn to 311.
This feels like a closing in endgame for which we do not have enough information, if I'm honest.
It could be. You set off home to take some well-deserved rest. The prospect of the F.E.A.R meeting is weighing heavily on your mind, but for the moment you're well advised to relax for the evening. You may gain 6 stamina points for taking it easy. That is perfect for me, thank you.
That is for me as well, funnily enough, and takes me back. No, it doesn't, actually. I forgot that I had to drop some. I'm back to 16. I am back to full, but it's not perfect. It's too many.
Okay. Next morning you're woken not by the alarm clock but by your crime watch. Beep, beep, beep. This time the message is longer than normal and it repeats itself. Reliable information. F.E.A.R meeting today. Whereabouts unknown. You spring out of bed. Today. Do you have any clues as to where the meeting is? No. It's the answer to that. Where will you go? Parker Airport, stay in the town, or head towards the waterfront? Well, the only thing we know that we can do right now is head towards the waterfront and deal with that sea creature, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's nothing to do with the F.E.A.R meeting. But then we'd just be guessing on the others anyway, wouldn't we?
We would. And we know... And I mean, it could be at the waterfront, for all we know, the meeting.
That is true. That is very true. We did make a mental note to go there as soon as possible.
We did. So let's try it.
Yeah.
We'll head towards the waterfront, 290. Are you anticipating this meeting? If so, you will know what time you ought to arrive to catch the meeting in progress. Add this time to today's date. Do you know what this is? And turn to the reference corresponding to this number. If the resulting reference makes no sense, turn to 368. So...
Do we know what the date is?
I don't remember if they said anything about what date.
And we know what time it's meant to be.
We know the time is 9. So effectively, the number we have to turn to is 9 plus date.
At least 2, I would assume.
Yeah.
Somewhere between 11 and more.
Well, today's actual date right now is the 10th. So how about we take a peek at the 19th, just in case, at number 19.
Number 19.
Because you never know, we might fluke it.
We should have picked up that newspaper. It definitely would have told us the date. Or the date a couple of days ago. We could have worked it out.
I'm sorry to say, 19
it makes
is...
no sense.
The others are shocked at the defeat of their leader and they surrender to you.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. We win.
It makes perfect sense. We win.
Yeah, that's going to be a no.
Uh, so we turn to 368.
Yeah.
It's hopeless. You do not know where F.E.A.R is holding its meeting, and you have no chance of finding it in such short a time. You find a convenient spot, change into your street clothes, and hail a cab. The driver has his radio on. As he chats away, the radio splutters and fizzles, the music dies, and an unscheduled announcement interrupts the programme. Turn to 292.
No, they
I
killed the
feel
music.
this can't be good news. A steely voice with a sinister tone speaks slowly and clearly. Citizens of the world, it announces, do not attempt to retune your receivers. This message is being broadcast on all frequencies simultaneously, in all languages, to all areas of the globe. My name is Vladimir Utoshki. I am known as the Titanium Cyborg. My organisation is known to you as the Federation of Euro-American Rebels. My message is this. We have taken control of the Star Wars satellite which orbits the Earth. We demand the unconditional surrender of all of your governments and military establishments, and the submission of all citizens to our leadership. Any resistance will be dealt with harshly. Our satellite will obliterate, one by one, the major cities of the Earth. As proof of our power, Titan City will be exterminated in exactly 30 seconds. Your heart sinks. You've failed to stop the fateful meeting of F.E.A.R, and the whole world must now pay the penalty.
Well,
Yeah.
it feels like we lost, Ben.
It wasn't exactly based on us remembering a date, it was based on us learning a date.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the book, if we'd done the
It
right
would have told
thing,
us
there would have
the
been a
date.
clue which would have told us what date the meeting was on.
Yeah.
Um,
So date, time,
and
place, and then possibly a fourth. We had four.
Yeah,
We had clues to four baddies, didn't we?
we
The
did,
super.
and we never got to find the other ones.
I think you're right, Luke. The cat was the missing clue.
Well, let's find out. If
Ben's been eager to check out the cat.
if we take the cat to a cat's home, we would have turned to 278.
Oh, did you jot that down? Because I had dairy at 369, but I tend to just jot down the first instance of us arriving at a location rather than every single.
The cat's home is not far from the dairy. As if it senses where it's going, the little animal squirms to get free. It fights and scratches in your grip. It seems to be getting heavier. Suddenly, a remarkable transformation takes place. You drop the cat to the ground, and before your eyes, it grows in size and takes on a female human form until it stands before you as the tiger cat. Of course, this wicked she-villain has a record of robbing dairies and fish factories. Of course she does. Her tight tiger-striped costume has sharp claws at the hands and feet, and she springs at you. Now, if you defeat her, you turn to 124. I'm just curious if you get a clue from her or something. Always possible. You get a couple of hero points and a piece of paper that's been handed into the police, which says, "Watch for the sign of the man-trapper, a metal slug with a letter M engraved on it." And then it gives you a route to, if you find one of those, if you find a metal slug with an M on it, you can add 60 to the reference you're on at the time, and it'll give you potentially more stuff.
Which sounds like a clue. Because that's how we got the time, wasn't it, from the Scarlet
That's
prankster.
Right. So I
minus
think
in 50 or whatever.
arguably that might have been the way to go. So it's possible the cat would, in fact, have been the right choice.
Mm.
Um, yeah, yeah. Um, because clearly we were not destined to achieve this again.
No, I mean we got one out of the three that we know of, possibly four.
Yeah, we definitely didn't know where it was or what day it was on, and
No,
possibly even if we'd known where it was vaguely, we didn't necessarily know which building or something like that.
yeah,
The only thing we knew for a fact is the that it happened at 9 o'clock.
mm. Which
Um,
we probably would have been able to work out anyway, you know, because if they've announced at 10 minutes past 9 on all radio frequencies that the world is about to end, then you know it probably would have been safe to say that their meeting happened at 9 o'clock.
Probably, yeah. I mean, it was a bit late to work that one out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But hey,
No,
we didn't die, Ben.
we didn't die. We
Those.
survived.
Yeah.
And well, no, I don't think we technically
We didn't
did
die
actually.
sooner than anybody else.
We we lasted another 30 seconds beyond the end of the text.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't feel that really counts as surviving in the strictest sense.
No, probably not.
No, that's I felt that we were sort of wading a bit through our lack of understanding of what we were really supposed to be doing at times. I think if we did have another go, we'd have a bit more focus on the things we needed to achieve.
Yeah. Although I mean, I don't know if you're supposed to find them in order of the clues as they were given, but we certainly found the first clue that we were given first.
Yeah, we did.
And potentially we just needed to keep an eye out for a heating engineer, a debutante, and some crime happening at a chemist's.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't see any sign of any of those.
No. Which may just be wrong decision making.
Yeah, it could well be. Or it may be that not all of the clues actually lead to anything in particular.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Also true.
Yeah. But
it was a good one though. I enjoyed it. It was a
was.
nice.
It was a very interesting one, very different from the others, and I do like the mechanics of it. The fact that you've got to gather the clues and then have the right thing, and I love the way it says, you know, if you've got this clue, when you find this thing, subtract 60 or add 60 or whatever to the page number. It breaks the linearity of it and allows you to jump to a different part of the story. I think that's fantastic.
And also makes you feel like you've learnt something secret. You know, you've got this secret number that you need to add or subtract to your actual number in order to come across this, rather than just, if you have this, turn to this number. Yeah, it's nice. It's nicely done. Definitely. Very thematical.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was a really good one. This one, I enjoyed this as much as any I think we've done. It was maybe not my absolute favourite. I still think City of Thieves was very special.
That was another really immersive one, I think.
Yeah,
definitely. It felt very city-esque.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one. But this very good effort. Thank you, Mr. Jackson. This was a cracking one.
It was indeed.
Yeah. So tomorrow, we are going to have to suffer with the absence of our lovely Ewan. So Luke and I will be here, and we will be playing The Quiet Year.
Indeed. Which is
mad creativity with very little actual rule structure, mostly just general silliness.
But in the greatest sense of the term, I feel.
It is glorious, glorious, chaotic fun.
Mm.
And I have to say, Ewan, I think your map this evening was just spectacular.
Well, it started off, I was trying, and then I just sort of like, well, how many arrows can we get on the can we get on the screen, and how can I make it as convoluted as possible? But thanks.
It's wonderful.
I think Disneyland and Rats are my favourite.
Disneyland and Rats are very good. Yes, I think the football game one is excellent, and the cemetery with the art above it is very good.
Thanks.
Yes.
I do what I can.
So, appointment with Fear, not one. Didn't do it,
No,
but enjoyed
the fun
playing it
time.
nonetheless.
Yeah, definitely.
And
Definitely.
hopefully we'll catch some of you tomorrow night for the Quiet Year, and then Luke will be playing more Cyberpunk 77 on Monday night. So next thing is 11 o'clock tomorrow for some the Quiet Year, which the way we do it isn't all that quiet in reality. Um, Good night, all. We shall sign off. Thank you very much for joining us, whether live or on VOD, and I hope you had some fun. And we will see you very soon.
Mm.
Cheers.
Good
Good
night.
night.